Okay. So welcome everyone. Again, it's really an honor to have you here with me and have the library hosting this for us. So I'm grateful. And don't worry if you haven't done any Zentangle any time prior, or if you were with us the last couple sessions, because the biggest thing to put your mind at ease is there really are no mistakes. At least you might not believe that, but that's what this woman, who her name is Maria, and she is one of the co-founders, she and her husband. And basically, it's just a method to help folks, I want to draw something, but I'm not sure what to draw. So we use some repetitive strokes and patterns, and we really, adhere to this idea of no mistakes, only opportunities. But I'll never tell if you get out an eraser or if you like a straight edge rather than just a line that you just go from top to bottom without the straight edge. It's really whatever you want to do. Anything to help you get your pen to paper and getting you creating. So it's all good. Okay. So with that said, then we will go on. If you could take your pencil and some scratch paper or a sketch pad. I'm going to start out by using my little pencil, but any pencil is fine. And if you say, well, I don't like my pencil as well as my marker, then go ahead and use your marker. You should use whatever you prefer. Okay, and then with this, we're just going to go ahead and put 4 dots with your pencil. I just put them in here with marker so everyone could see. And can you then connect the dots? And one of the big, I would say it's a staple when we tangle, is to move the paper. I like to turn my paper just about with every stroke, and that's not true every single time, but it depends on what we're doing. I noticed that I like to draw from the stroke out and toward my body. So you do what you like. Now, I'm going to ask you to do make another set of corner dots and then connect them. And by the way, while you're doing this, go ahead and so you have 5 boxes in all. So that means 4 more sets of corner dots and connect them. And it's just your sketch pad. So just make it easy on yourself. Don't worry about perfection. Be whimsy if you want, make loops or use your ruler. It really doesn't matter. So we're just making 4 corner dots and connecting the dots. And so far, I have 3, and I'm going to do 2 more sets. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to do another. And these aren't, you can see by relation to my pencil, these aren't terribly big boxes. Just a couple inches or so. And just helps us get warmed up also, putting pen to paper. And you might notice your breath. Maybe you're even holding your breath because I know you want to do it right. You want to make something beautiful, and it's beautiful that you're here. So just breathe in. Notice if your jaw is kind of tight or your teeth are really locked. Your tongue is pushing into the roof of your mouth. All sorts of that stuff. Sometimes we get when we're excited and it's a new opportunity and we really want to do well. Just go ahead and relax. So what I'd like to do for warm up tonight is just review or practice rather some of the tangles that we'll do. The first one is actually called well, W-E-L-L. And so I'm going to get closer now to this one box, and I'm also going to take my marker. Don't worry if you didn't pick one up, just whatever you're using is fine. A pencil is fine as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put a little mark right here, about in the middle and about in the middle. And then I'm just going to draw a line to connect the two. And then I'm going to, remember I said I rotate my paper a lot. So yep, that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to do the same thing, just a little eyeball. Where is the middle of that? So I've got a landmark, and then I'm just going to connect the two. So I have 4 boxes within the big. In the center of each box, I'm going to put a dot that's about the size of the top of a straight pin. And just go ahead and do that in each box. Work with my lighting a little bit here, give you a little bit more. Let's see how that does. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to put a dot in the center of each box. Now, I'm going to show you out here in another sample box with my pencil. This is just for sample. What I'm doing is I'm going to start in that dot. I'm going to start on that dot, and I'm going to come around, and I'm going to come off the dot and into the corner. So I'll show you with my sample. I'm going to start, and I'm going to come off the top of the dot and go into the corner. And now I've got 4 corners. So you can see I'm turning my paper because I want to I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to go around. I like to start at the bottom of that circle and go around that center circle and take off and land. So it seems like each time I retrace, I like to start at the bottom of that circle and come around, you know, like you take off, you get a run, and you take off. So I come around and I go into the corner. That's this pattern. So go ahead and practice then when you want. So I have my dot, and like I said, I'm going to be going for this corner first. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to retrace that dot, and then I'm going to depart the dot and curve right into the corner. And just repeat that. You know, I say just repeat that, but that's really all this is start on the dot. I like to trace the perimeter of the dot, and then I'm going to curve right into the corner. It's just that simple, but I know it's simple to me because I've done this a lot and you haven't. So again, I would encourage you to retrace the circle and then leave that circle in the center and cruise into the corner. And if you think you've got this, then go ahead and complete your other squares, your other boxes. And if there's anything I can better explain or answer a question at any time, be sure. Now you see how I get into the middle of this box and I'm making my dot a little bigger. That's fine. You're just going to make your dot as like you like it, and then you'll circle off of it and go right into the corner. So I call that giving it a little love, you know? You're just putting down more ink, giving it the shape, making the shape you like. It gets a little more attention as you get into each box. That's what happens. So you're just curving around. And For me, turning the paper, that's really important when I make this stroke. And again, just continue on whichever box you want to do. I give it a little love and then I jump off and curve into the corner. So I'm starting from the outside, I'm retracing, and I'm going all the way around. And I'm going to do that with each one. You don't have to draw, of course, you don't have to draw that arrow. I just did it to give a little assistance. We're just leaving the center and moving to, whoops, to the corner. And I'm doing that with each one. Coming off the center and moving to the corner. And coming off of the center and moving to the corner. Kind of looks like a little spinner you might find in the garden, for example. And then I'm going to do the last box, and I like to give my dot a little more definition, and then I take off and land in the corner. Take off and land. And I'm rotating my paper each time. As you're working, it probably feels more graceful than it does with me working under the document camera. It gets a little tricky. So if you see my hand instead of my drawing, let me know. I try to keep an eye on that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to show you a picture quick while you might be finishing that. It is a picture of, this is the woman Maria Thomas, and her husband Rick Roberts. And so she is really just an amazing artist, and as is he. And they are the ones that have really, been the founders for this, and wonderful people to want to share basically art and help unlock, art and make your creativity come out, give you the next move so you gain confidence. All right, any questions, or should we go on to a next tangle? All right, here we go. So this is called, now my plan is that we do this for warm up and then we put it in a composition. We'll work with all of these here as we get going. So tipple. And tipple is nothing more than orbs, which orbs, it's just another word that means an imperfect circle. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to do something like this. Start somewhere. You can pick a corner, and you can only see part of that orb, part of that circle. So just get yourself started. And then fill in another orb, and you can have them touching, or they don't have to be touching. You could make a really tiny orb. Now watch this one. I'm going to make a giant portion of an orb. It's going to be really, really big, but I only see that much of it. And again, I would just have fun with this. There is no magic pattern. It is simply putting orbs on the paper. They don't have to be touching one another, but they can be. You don't have to fill the entire space. You don't have to go in any particular order. Heck, you could just jump out into the middle and place an orb. So again, this is a nice place for you to just say, okay, I get this, and have some fun filling in your space. And again, yeah, my orb, that's why I call it an orb. It kind of looks like an oval right there, but that's okay. No mistakes, only opportunities. So again, just fill in your space. Placing orbs, many of them touching, but they don't have to be. Whoops. Okay. If you are saying, well, what's a good place to start? I often start along the side or a corner. You can see it's easy to fill in with just a portion of an orb. From there, I like to go. That's just me, and you'll figure out something you like as well. So again, this is called tipple, and you're just filling whatever space with orbs. And I have to say that some people don't like the way they make orbs. I know that some people don't like doing this in classes that I've previously taught because they really don't like the way their circles look. And I have another person who takes a class from me, and she bought a stencil with multi sizes of orbs, multi-size circles, so that she can use her stencil. So by all means, you've heard me say this before, you need to do what you like to do. If you like circles to look like great circles, then you can get your stencils, and that's fine. So just fill in your space. If you could look up for a moment, I'm going to show you the next thing that I like to have folks do. And then you can, I don't want to rush you on this, but I'm going to, for just our warm up, take my pencil and notice these little tiny spaces, the spaces between the orbs. Well, there's a big long word called interstices, and it really doesn't matter. But what it means is this space, it's the negative space between the orbs. So would you, when you get your space filled in, would you just practice a little shading then by filling in the space between the orbs? Some of the spaces are really tiny, and some are bigger, of course, but the thing that it does is that it helps when you put dark around the light. The first thing that happens is that you notice the light, and that's what we're trying to do in this case. And the other thing is it grounds it. So when you see it, you're just noticing the light. You're not noticing the entire thing. So if you wanted everything to be seen like that, then by all means, you don't have to add any graphite or ink between the orbs. But often this technique is used. Often, I know I do. I fill it in. Oftentimes it gives dimension to the work, and I like that. And it focuses the eye on the portion around it, and that's what I wanted. So that's one of the reasons we're doing that. So just take a few more minutes. You may not get all of these spaces filled in, but you'll understand when we do it a little later what we're taking on. And again, a nice time to check in with your breath, with your shoulders. How about your feet? You know, you've heard me say that I don't want any toes to cramp. Don't get too tight, uptight. Try your best to relax. Pull your tongue away from your big teeth. Okay, so does everybody get the idea in general for this pattern called tipple? Yeah, okay, good. So let's come over here, and we're going to practice another one. And we won't do the entire thing, but what we'll practice is, so I'm going back to my marker, my 01. There we go. And I'm going to come to a corner, and I'm going to ask you to draw a little rainbow in the corner. And then let's draw what I'm going to refer to as an aura. If you've been in this class before, you know we've talked about it. It's just a line that mimics the line that's already there. So anyway, let's draw an aura around the existing line we put down. After that, I'm going to turn, so this corner is pointing toward me. And so I think of this as a pizza slice. I'm going to take my marker and draw toward me. And then I'm going to inch my way to the right, and I'm going to start here, and I'm going to draw to the corner. And I'm going to advance ever so slowly in the same fashion, taking a little teeny tiny step to the right, and all roads lead to the corner. And if you're having trouble landing in the corner, I would encourage you to keep your eye focused on the corner and trust that your stroke will land there. And it makes a really nice effect because all of that ink starts to gather at this place. And it looks neat, it adds dimension and so forth. So now we're really going to do the same thing. I'm moving now to the left. So I'm coming left of center, about right there. And I'm going to draw that line to the corner. And I will proceed just as I did on the right side. I'm creeping along, taking a little tiny step, just a turtle step, ever so slowly, making my way around that curve. The next step is to do another aura, but this time there's going to be more space. So I'm going to put a line about right here. And these are just landmarks. I'm going to then connect these with another curved line. I'm auraing what's already there. And then I'm going to turn that corner back. It's facing my chest. Okay, I'm going to come up here to the center and I'm going to work in this space. And I'm going to put down this line and this line. And would you just real quickly just make a little scribble? So put some ink there. Then I'm going to make another line to the right. I'm going to leave that blank. I'm proceeding to the right. So I put some ink here, open. I'm going to put down a little more ink here, just for a visual. And this space, you really can't see much. It's putting in a line and a little bit of ink would be seen. It would go off the page like that. Okay, I'm going to come back to the center and I'm working to the left, but I'm doing the same thing. So I'm going to come over here and make a line. Add another dot about right there and right there. And then connect the two. So I have ink in the center, open, add some ink. Just fill in a little bit with your marker. The next step is to aura, and it's going to be a very narrow aura. So what do you mean, Stephanie? So it's going to be very narrow from like there. Okay, so see where I put my dots? So go ahead and connect those dots with that curve when you're ready. Curving around. It's very narrow. Now, up at the top, let's add some orbs. And this time, I'm going to keep my orbs. You can see how big it is, relatively speaking. It's about the end of that marker. And I'm just going to connect the orbs side by side. So they won't overlap, they just touch. And again, it helps me at least if I turn my paper. Now what happens when I get over here to the corner, because I can't see the whole orb? So I'll just start here and I'll touch at the side and then I'll just draw what is visible. And I'm going to come back to the center and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fill in spaces. And sometimes I have people who like to, you know, actually turn this whole piece upside down because you might be right-handed and you want to see what you're doing. And that's what I'm doing exactly right now. I'm turning this upside down so I can see what I'm doing rather than have my hand in front of the camera that you may be trying to watch as well. Either way, it looks like a cool design that we're already got going. We really just have 2 more strokes and they're going to be auras. And so they're going to be very narrow and it's going to be around the orbs. So let me hold this close. You see how I'm starting to aura and I'm just basically retracing those nice curves from the orbs. And the aura is pretty close, maybe 1/4 of an inch away from the orbs. And then the last part to draw is to put in a second aura. You're just going back to the one that you just did. Same thing. And it's, again, it's narrow. The space is narrow. Now, remember with tipple how we filled in the negative spaces? Some were really tiny. Okay, do you notice these really tiny little spaces? It would be like you have with your teeth and you use dental floss, you know? So go in here on just a couple, but fill in. I want you to notice how it changes the look of this tangle when you put some ink. If you put ink between here, the orbs pop. So I just want you to notice by doing this, just a few of them, you can start to see, oh yeah, just a little bit of ink goes a long ways here because you notice these orbs. And you may be wondering, what is this one called? This is a fun name. It is Moon Pie. All right, so basically with this is the last one essentially that's new, and this really is going to probably be the easiest because all we're doing is taking a line and putting a little tip on the end of it, like a little sprout. Maybe it's like a little, oh, not a bean sprout, but I can't remember. They used to be on like salad bars and stuff a lot. It's a little, I can't, anyway, and these just go anywhere at any height you want them to be. You could overlap. You could put a curve, a loop in. So just, again, let yourself go with this, and you don't have to stay on the bottom part. You can come up from the top. And they can be hitchhikers, and they can swing down one off the other. So just be playful with this. Usually we just use this to add a little embellishment to any existing Tangle, maybe there's a little space. We'd like to add something, but we don't want to overdo it. Sometimes I've noticed folks will add little tiny dots, you know, somewhere. Again, that's just optional and it's really whatever you like, whatever looks fun to you. So just do a couple. It's called fescue. And that's really all it is. You're just making this stem or stalk, and then you put a little droplet on the end of it. And sometimes if you are saying, well, how do I get started? I really don't know what to do. I would encourage you to try fescue and just let yourself go all over the page. It may be fun. So I'm going to pause and see if anybody has questions before we get on to, we will go to using this. The library has supplied these tiles for us. And so we're going to put some of these together now into a composition. But does anybody have any questions? We're going to use moon pie. Tipple is just a series of orbs. Well, we made on a grid. And fescue. Okay, the last thing, if you're saying, well, why did she have us make 5 of these? I want you to, we're going to put down what is called in Zentangle jargon, a string. And that's basically just a line or lines that divide the drawing space. And usually you do it in pencil, but you don't have to. So this is what I had in mind tonight. Put a little line about right there, about a third of the way. And another little dot right here. And then just connect the two. And I'm going to add a little curve to mine. And then let's put a little dot about right up here and one about right there. And then connect them. And I'm going to, again, I like to make some curves. So we're going to go over to now the big tile. And I'm not going to have us put in border the dots. I just want to work with the whole tile tonight. And we're going to start out then by putting down, remember how we just placed dots on this to give us our string? So that's what we're going to do. So why don't you put a dot about, oh, somewhere right in there. Okay, I'll get it. So I'm put that dot about right there with my pencil, but doesn't matter if you have your marker. And then I'm going to go way over here. And now I'm going to turn so I can connect the two. And I'm just going to let that line move a little bit. I'm giving it a little curve. Okay. I'm going to. All right. So then we have one more line. And I'm going to put about right up here. Right in there, I'm going to make a dot. And somewhere right in here, another dot. And then I'm going to turn because I'm going to connect the two. And you know me, I'm going to have a little wavy, like a long, narrow S. It's going to run right in there. I see Janice. I think you're in, Janice. So you can join us. We are just getting started with our main composition. So nice to have you. So with this, everybody, let's go back to your marker, back to your O1. And okay, I say first things first. For tonight, for our purposes, let's just retrace with the marker these lines that we put down. So I'm going to start with this one. And again, just let your hand, your grip be light. because this doesn't have to be the last line, of course. You can go over that. You can retrace it as many times as you'd like. And before I leave that, I'm going to make an aura, and I'm going to go right below it. And I'm just going to retrace about 1/4 of an inch. You can see it's not terribly wide. You can see from the edge of my pen, but I have this little aura in here in that space. And I'm going to turn my paper again, turn my tile, and I'm going to trace this line now with my marker. And you guessed it, I'm going to put in an aura, so right below, similar thickness. And again, if it's perfect, great, but none of us are perfect, so I'm sure our work will be just as perfect as we all are, and we won't worry about it, because really you're not even going to notice any imperfection in your lines probably when you finish. Well, you will, but no one else will. Okay, we good so far? Yeah, okay. So we're going to go with well. And we're going to put that right down here. Okay, so how should we get started, Stephanie? I'm going to encourage you to go out in the middle somewhere and put down a line. And continue to do that. So this is about, you can see how wide that is. Probably about 1 inch. And just continue to do that. Put down another line. And then, you know, I'm turning that trick. I'm turning my tile so I can put down another line about right here. Okay, so now we have to make the grid. So let's put down a line. And about right here. Okay, so now we have our boxes, and now we just have to put the center dot. So go ahead and, you know, about the size right now of the top of a straight pin, go ahead and place your dot. So the question usually arises, well, what do I do where the box is cut off? It's not a whole box. No, you just place the dot approximately where it would fall. Where would that dot be? And you could line it up with the others that are neighboring that box. On this one, I can't, it wouldn't be seen. And over here, no, I don't think it's going to be seen in any of those. And then it's just, here we go. So we start in a space and go around your circle and come off and curve to the corner. So Janice, basically I like to start on the top and go around the outside of that circle, and then I'm spinning off of it and landing in the corner. And I just continue to do that in the direction of each corner. And I'll put down 4, so it looks like I have a spinner. So usually this, again, another question arises. So Stephanie, I get what to do. I can do this one. But what do I do here? So the answer is you start in the same way and you just stop, because that's where the border is. There's nothing more to put in. It goes off the page there. And then you just resume over here. and resume over here. Now, I'm going to come back to these three in a minute. I would encourage you to do the rest of your boxes that you can easily see right now. And then we'll tackle the smaller ones in a moment. But just get your other lines, your other boxes filled in. You're just curving around. If the box goes off the edge, it goes off the edge. You're only putting down what you can see. Start in the center and spin off that center circle until you get to the corner. You're building up some steam, some momentum, and then off you come and into the corner. And I would encourage you again to continue rotating. Rotate. And sometimes I advance without finishing a box like I did here. So you'll catch yourself. You just go back and fill it in. Again, I would encourage you not to be intimidated by those smaller sections that are on the fringe toward the edges. That's fine. You'll be fine. You'll get it. We'll work together. But you can see I'm just starting in the center, same thing, and I just come out at the angle I would come, and that's all that I can see. And I've done it enough times now that I can see the other boxes as well, and I can use those lines as landmarks to help guide me as I'm working. So just allow yourself to use the other boxes. Okay, so I'm gonna go to this one right here. I'm gonna again spin off, and then there's that line is going to be very small because there's not much else to be seen. This one going to the corner, that's easy to see. And you're gonna know your boxes, specifically what to do with your space. But just start in the center and jump off like you would, just getting off the merry-go-round here, moving toward the corner with whatever you can see. And it will look beautiful. It's very forgiving. You won't notice any oops. Well, again, we won't, but you will, but that's okay. So I don't have, I don't have a corner dot. So what to do with this one? So I'm just going to look at my neighbor. What would I see? Okay, I would just basically see this. So I draw that in. The same way with this little snippet, what would I see? I would just see a little bit, and I just draw it in. I just take my example from here, and I go to this one. I would just see, okay, what would I see? I would see this line. It would be that one. And I might see a little bit, but there's not much more to be seen down in that one. Does anybody have any questions about this piece? Well, let's go on. Okay. Now, next section, let's tackle tipple. And so this is the section. And you can put your orbs anywhere. Remember, any size is good. I'm going to move this a little closer. There we go. So let's see, for me, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to be starting mine in that corner. You can't see the whole orb. And then I think I will add another neighbor right there. And again, I just kind of get some momentum going, filling in my space. They're touching, but they don't have to be touching. And I like to move around the perimeter, at least to get started. And fill in some spaces. And again, I would encourage you to experiment with all sizes. Sometimes, especially if you haven't done too much tangling, you might find yourself working really tiny. And sometimes that can be maybe a distraction because it's really tiny, and you might say, oh, am I doing it right? I don't want to make it big, but I would just say, okay, try a big one somewhere. Even if it's on the edge, try half of a big one. Just let yourself try it at least. And then fill in with tiny and medium size and whatever you'd like. And you can see I'm working all the way around right now. I just kind of move about as it speaks to me. Okay, what do I want to put where? And most of them are touching, but they all aren't, and they don't have to be. And again, I'm just clarifying that we deliberately use this term orb because it's not a perfect circle. And try not to you know, get too tough on yourself if you don't like the looks of some of these orbs. You may not have done this before, and it might be challenging. So I think you're probably doing fine. And I think when you put some ink in between the orbs, you'll probably like it better than you may initially.
Stephanie, it's Amy. I just want to let you know we have about 10 minutes
Okay.
left, and we can go a little bit over, assuming Zoom doesn't kick us out. So,
Okay. So when you get to this point, everybody, then go ahead and fill in with either your marker, or you can use your pencil if you so desire, but your negative space, just take a few minutes and fill in. And again, you can see that I am going to retrace some of my lines, and you may not finish this in the time that we have tonight. It's okay. You can come back and you can add more ink, or you can add another orb someplace. And if you would like to fill in the space with your pencil, go for it. Sometimes just gliding over the space with that graphite, it moves so nicely on this tile. It's nice. It's nice and soothing. And notice your grip, you know, if it's you're really, really gripping it, you might want to just relax a little bit. It'll help you be able to smooth these edges if that interests you. So, and you can see, you know, it's easy to get outside the lines. We're not concerned with that. You can just go in and smooth it out, add a little ink, retrace the line, redefine the line, we call it. So I think that what we'll do for tonight is we will put some shading in these two spaces. And then we'll come back when we start next time. We'll work with moon pie. And so if you have this from, you know, tonight, next time, we'll just put in moon pie. And if you don't have it, you can just start again with moon pie. It'll be easy. But we don't have to rush and try to make people nervous about going so quickly. I don't want to do that. So we'll just enjoy the little time here in the class that remains tonight and enjoy filling in these spaces, redefining the lines. And if you would like to work on this on your own, that's awesome. I think you should. And if you want to wait until our next session, like I said, we'll do moon pie again and go from there. So we will reconvene in 2 weeks, and I would love to have you join us. That works into your schedule, and we'll revisit this and moon pie initially. And again, if you lose it or you don't have it, that's fine. You'll be able to participate regardless. The fun thing is you have moon pie in your sketch pad, so you can revisit that as well on your own, play around with it. And feel free to share next time if you've added any more to this before we get started. Okay, so I want to show you, I want you to, you may not be done, like I'm not done putting in the ink here down in my negative space, but I think that you can do that. And I want to show you though, with these orbs, one technique that's kind of fun. And basically you can put a little in a corner somewhere on one of the edges, you can just put a little shading. Now, I often say, if you're not sure where to start, just try a bottom corner, bottom right or bottom left. So I just put in a little bit of graphite, and then I took the tortillon, and I'm just inviting that to blend a little of the graphite right in. So it looks like there's a little shadow there. It gives it a little dimension. Now I'm going to pick up my marker again because I want to show you something that, again, if you are interested, you could add to the top. So back to the top of this orb would be like a smiley face, like a mouth, a smile with a dot. And again, you have plenty of time to work on this, but again, what did I do? I just took a little bit, so I'm going to work on this one right below. I just put a little bit of graphite down here, just a little shadow, just a little slice, a little crescent moon, very thin crescent moon. And then I come in here with the tortillon, the blending stub, and I just move it around a little bit so it creates a nice little shadow. And I come back to this section on the top where it's lighter, and I add a little smiley face and a dot. Boy, that's beautiful. So if that interests you, I would invite you to play around with that, but it really makes it a neat, just grabs your attention and has a nice impact. And no, you don't have to do that on all of them, but if you like that on some of the bigger ones, go for it, try it. I'm just going to do it one more time. Just going to add a little tiny strip of graphite right in here. And then I'm going to grab my tortillon and move it around, move that graphite a little bit. So I move that nice gray out into the circle a little bit, out into the orb. So I have that dark down here, and then I come back to the top and I add a smiley face. And I'm going to put my dot down there. Okay. So we've been busy, everybody. We've been busy tonight. And again, we'll pick it up with this next time, but go ahead, fill in your negative space. We'll add some shading to this and get back with moon pie. But again, if you'd like to do this, you can't be with us next time, that's fine too. Just have fun with that. And in the few minutes that remain, if you'd like to share anything that you've done, or if you have questions, I'm going to open it to anybody. So let's hear from you.
So Stephanie, we had somebody in the chat that wanted you to show the original practice sheet.
Okay. The original practice sheet is this. Yeah, take a picture of that even. That might be helpful. It'll be, the library will have this on their YouTube recordings, but take a picture if you need to.
I just emailed everybody who registered for this class, the link to register for the next class, and also the link to watch the March 23rd class on YouTube, which will be the same place that you'll find this one on YouTube as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, Amy. So I think, Jan, were you going to share yours? You want to share yours?
Share yours, hon.
Yeah, a little bit.
That looks great.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at the orbs.
Very nice.
Yeah, great. Way to go. And thanks for sharing, Jan. I hope you can come next time.
Oh, I'll be there.
Okay, awesome.
I just had a question about the pen. My pen kind of got out on me, so I'd like to buy a new one. Did you say 0.1 or 0.1?
Yeah, 0.1, or you can get a 0.5 is a little thicker.
Okay.
Or you can get, let me show you this option. This pen is, the letters are PN. And some people like it because the nib is plastic rather than.
Okay.
Do you see how the nib differs one from the other? Okay. And as you go up in number, Deb, as you go up in number, the nib will get thicker. You might like an 0.5, especially if you tend to push kind of hard. You might like an 0.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thanks. Anybody else? I'd love to see any other work if you want to be brave.
Another one.
Going once, going twice.
Show mine.
Okay, Terry, let's put you up. I can't hear you, Terry. Okay, there you go.
Oh,
Yeah, move it there. Okay, nice. Way to go. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing, and I hope you can come next time.
sure. Hope to.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And so anyone else? Okay, I see Jan with another from last. Oh, yes. Let's see that. Nice. Look at that Inderella. Very cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry.
I love it. Nice. Thanks for sharing that. That turned out really neat. Very nice. Yeah, so feel free at any time to show any of your work that you've done. We would love to see it. And there is, oh, look at that one. Oh, you were busy. It's beautiful, Jan. Thank you. Gorgeous. Awesome. And thanks for being brave and sharing. Okay, well, everyone, this was really great to be with you all, and thanks for sharing your time. And I look forward to a couple weeks when I see you again.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you all. And thanks to the library.
Mhm.
Okay.